Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namaskar. Hello everyone and welcome to the Wednesday Dhamma reading session. Today we are going to read a couple of stories from the Dhammapada verses and learn how Buddha has taught those people. So we are starting today with the Dandavagga, which means a stick in which the Buddha is giving examples, similes we can say, referring to a stick. Dhammapada, verse 129. All are afraid of the stick. All fear death. Putting oneself in another's place. One should not beat or kill others. The story of a group of 6 bhikkhus while residing at the Jetavana monastery. The Buddha uttered verse 129 of this book with reference to a group of 6 bhikkhus who picked a quarrel with another group comprising 17 bhikkhus. Once 17 bhikkhus were cleaning up a building in the Jetavana monastery complex with the intention of occupying it, when another group comprising 6 bhikkhus arrived on the scene. The group of 6 said to the first group, "We are senior to you, so you had better give way to us. We will take this place." The group of 17 did not give in, so the Chappakis beat up the other group, who cried out in pain. The Buddha, learning about this, reprimanded them and laid down the disciplinary rule forbidding bhikkhus to beat others. Then the Buddha spoke in verse as follows. All are afraid of the stick. All fear death. Putting oneself in another's place, one should not beat or kill others. A very simple story and yet so profound. Actually, next verse is similar one, but the story keeps changing. I mean, what happened later on is in the next verse in story. Nanda madam, can you read?
Dhammapada verse 130. Chabagya Bhikkhu Vatu. All are afraid of the stick. All hold their lives dear. Put oneself in another's place. One should not beat or kill others. The story of a group of 6 bhikkhus. While residing at the Jetavana monastery, the Buddha uttered verse 130 of this book with reference to a group of 6 bhikkhus. After coming to blows the first time, the same 2 groups of bhikkhus quarreled again over the same building. As the rule prohibiting beating others had already been laid down, the group of 6 threatened the other group with upraised hands. The group of 17 who were junior to the cabbages cried out in fright. The Buddha, hearing about this, laid down the disciplinary rule of forbidding the raising of hands in threat. Then the Buddha spoke in verse as follows. All are afraid of the stick, and all hold their lives dear. Putting oneself in another's place, one should not beat or kill others. So as Sindhu said, this verse 130, similar to the previous one, it's the same 6 bhikkhus and the larger group of bhikkhus, 17 of them. The 6 bhikkhus were, the 17 bhikkhus were junior and to the 6 bhikkhus. And again, they start quarreling with the 2 groups over the same building. And fortunately, because our Blessed One has installed a rule avoiding beating each other, so the the 6 bhikkhus threatened the young ones with upraised hands, and of course the younger 17 bhikkhus got quite frightened about this. And so the Buddha came to hear about it, and again installed another rule forbidding the raising of hands in threat. So the Buddha said the verse, the following verse, all are afraid of the stick. However, all human beings dearly love their lives, and we should learn to put ourselves in others' shoes, and therefore understand the feelings of other people, and therefore we should not beat others, and we should definitely not kill others as well.
Actually, this is mostly concerned with the bodily action. Whatever kind of bodily action we are doing, should reflect back, is it helpful or is it harmful for the others? Then only we should do that kind of bodily action. He who seeks, verse 131, Sambahula Kumarakavattu. Verse number 131, he who seeks his own happiness by oppressing others, who also desire to have happiness, will not find happiness in his next existence. Verse 132, he who seeks his own happiness by not oppressing others, who also desire to have happiness, will find happiness in his next existence. The story of many youths. While residing at the Jetavana monastery, the Buddha uttered these verses 131 and 132 of this book with reference to a number of youths. Once the Buddha was out on an alms round at Savatthi. when he came across a number of youths beating a snake with sticks. When questioned, the youths answered that they were beating the snake because they were afraid that the snake might bite them. To them, the Buddha said, if you do not want to be harmed, you should also not harm others. If you harm others, you will not find happiness in your next existence. Then the Buddha spoke in verse as follows: he who seeks his own happiness by oppressing others, who also desire to have happiness, will not find happiness in his next existence. He who seeks his own happiness by not oppressing others, who also desire to have happiness, will find happiness in his next existence. At the end of the discourse, all the youths attain Sotapatti fruition. So these two verses are regarding the happiness and the next existence. If we are seeking happiness through oppressing by giving suffering to others, then in that means of happiness will not lead to good destination, or next existence will not be happy. For those who are seeking happiness by not punishing others or not giving any kind of suffering to others, then those people who are also expecting to be happy than suffering, then both of them and the person who is not giving any much suffering to others, he will find happiness in his next existence. So this is the verse. This verse was given by the Buddha when he was staying at the Jetavana monastery with reference to number of youths. So there were many youths. When the Buddha was out on Armstrong at Savatthi, he came across many youths beating a snake with a stick. When questioned, the youth said that they were beating the snake so that they can protect themselves. They are afraid that the snake might bite them. To them, the Buddha said, the kind of action they are doing, if they are harming someone, if you don't want others to harm you, then first you should not harm others. If you harm others, then you will not find happiness in your next existence. And then the Buddha gave these two verses to the young with many youths. One who is seeking happiness by making others suffer, those who that suffering people are also desire to be happy than to suffer. Then that happiness or next destination, whatever it is, that existence will not be happy with existence. One who is seeking his own happiness without causing any suffering to others, who are also seeking happiness, will find happiness in the next existence. At the end of this discourse, listening to the Buddha's words, the youths attain Sotapanthi fruition. So which kind of happiness, what kind of action you are doing? Is the action or the happiness that you are experiencing coming from somebody's suffering? Or is it that you are being compassionate and know that your happiness is not oppressing or not causing trouble to somebody else who are also seeking to be happy? Then your next existence will be the happy one.
Nanda madam, you can read madam.
Dhammapada verse 133 and 134. Kondanatara Vatu. Verse 133. Do not speak harshly to anyone. Those who are thus spoken to will retort. Malicious talk is indeed the cause of trouble, dukkha, and retribution will come to you. Verse 134. If you can keep yourself calm and quiet like a broken gong which is no longer resonate, you are sure to realize Nibbana. There will be no harshness in you. Sarabakata, malicious talk. According to the commentary, it means talk belittling others. The story of Thera Kondanya. While residing at the Setavana monastery, the Buddha uttered verses 133 and 134 of this book with reference to Thera Kondanya. Since the day Kondandana was admitted to the order, the image of a female was always following him. This image was seen by others, but Kondandana himself did not see it and so did not know about it. When he was out on an alms round, people would offer 2 spoonfuls to him, saying, "This is for you, venerable sir, and this is for your female companion." Seeing the bhikkhu going about with a woman, people went to King Pasanadi of Kosala and reported about the bhikkhu and the woman. They said to the king, "O king, drive out the bhikkhu who is lacking in moral virtues from your kingdom." So the king went to the monastery where that bhikkhu was staying and surrounded with his men. Hearing noises and voices, the bhikkhus came out and stood at the door, and the image also was there, not far from the bhikkhu. Knowing that the king had come, the bhikkhu went into the room to wait for him. When the king entered the room, the image was not there. The king asked the bhikkhu where the woman was, and he replied that he saw no woman. The king wanted to make sure that he asked the bhikkhu to leave the room for a while. The bhikkhu left the room, but when the king looked out again, he saw the woman near the bhikkhu. But when the bhikkhu came back to the room, the woman was nowhere to be found. The king concluded that the woman was not real, and so the bhikkhu must be innocent. He therefore invited the bhikkhu to come to the palace every day for alms food. When other bhikkhus heard about this, they were puzzled and said to the bhikkhu, "O bhikkhu with no moral, now that the king, instead of driving you out of his kingdom, he invited you for alms food, you're doomed." The bhikkhu on his part retorted, "Only you are the ones without morals. Only you are doomed because you are the ones who go about with women." The bhikkhus thus reported the matter to the Buddha. The Buddha sent for Kondandana and said to him, "My son, did you see any woman with the other bhikkhus that you have talked to them thus? You have not seen any woman with them as they have seen one with you. I see that you do not realize that you have been cursed on account of an evil deed done by you in a past existence. Now listen, I shall explain to you why you have an image of a woman following you about. You were a deva in your last existence. During that time, there were two bhikkhus who were very much attached to each other, but you tried to create trouble between the two by assuming the appearance of a woman and following one of the bhikkhus. For that evil deed, you are now being followed by the image of a woman. So, my son, in future, do not argue with other bhikkhus anymore. Keep silent like a gong, with the rim broken off, and you will realize Nibbana. When the Buddha spoke in verse as follows, do not speak harshly to anyone. Those who are thus spoken to will retort. Malicious talk is indeed the cause of trouble, dukkha, and retribution will come to you. Verse 134. If you can keep yourself calm and quiet like a broken gong which is no longer resonant, you are sure to realize Nibbana. There will be no harshness in you.
So these are the two verses which Buddha has been talking about the Tera Kondadan Danna. Kondada Danna. He's a Tera, and in reference to him, the Buddha spoke these two verses. And when the Buddha was staying in Jetavana monastery, since the day Kondada Danna was admitted in the order, there used to be an image of a female who is following the Tera. And everybody saw that image of the woman, except he himself. He didn't know that the image was following him. And when he went out on Armstrong, people used to offer 2 spoons to him, saying, "This is for you, and this is for the female companion." And see other bhikkhus seeing a woman's image besides the bhikkhu, they went to the king, Vasindhi of Kosala, and reported that this bhikkhu is not virtuous. And the king came to the monastery to check with him. When the king arrived, he came inside the monastery, and all the bhikkhus came outside, and king went inside and he sat in a room. He invited Kundada Dhanna, and only the bhikkhu, the Tera, has come in, and the image was not with him. And when he went outside the room, the image was with him. The image was with the Tera. And when the king asked him to come inside again, the image was not there. The woman's image was not there. So now, knowing about the image, knowing that this is no more real woman, king asked the bhikkhu, the Tera, and asked him to visit the kingdom and take alms food every day from the kingdom. And when other bhikkhus heard about this, how puzzled they be. that even though there is a woman's image behind this bhikkhu, the king, this he invited this moral, moralless bhikkhu to his palace every day, and other bhikkhus were puzzled about this. And every day at the palace, this bhikkhu used to get the alms full. And there was like a conversation between the Tera and the other bhikkhus. The other bhikkhus said that you are the with no morals because there is a woman's image behind you, and you are being invited for the alms food at the palace. And the other bhikkhu said that only you are the ones without morals. You are doomed because you are the ones who go about with the woman. And regarding this bhikkhu, all of this matter was reported to the Buddha. Then the Buddha sent asked the Tera, Kundada Thanda, and asked him to say, come see me. And when he went to the Buddha, Buddha said to him, my son, did you see any woman with the other bhikkhu that you have talked to them thus? You have not seen any woman with them as they have seen one with you. Because this image was concerned only to this Tera and not to any other bhikkhu. I see that you do not realize that you have been cursed on account of an evil deed done by you in a past existence. He did some mistake in the past existence. That's why, because of that wrong action, now he experiences the consequences. So Buddha gave the instance of what happened in his past existence. That Tera was a female deva. No, the Tera was a deva in his last existence. During that time, there were two bhikkhus who were attached to each other, and this deva, the Tera, who was deva in his past existence, tried to separate those bhikkhus, and he assumed the appearance of a woman and went along following one of the bhikkhu. And he created an argument between those two bhikkhus. And because of that evil deed, now in this lifetime, he is being followed by image of a woman. And then the Buddha says, my son, in future, do not argue with other bhikkhus anymore. Keep silent like a gong with the ring broken off, and you will realize Nibbana. He's saying, whatever verbal action that you're doing, don't get into the argument or don't make any of the wrong speech. As if even uh, if the gong's rim is broken, when you beat the gong, the sound will not keep vibrating. The same way, if there is some argument going on, don't keep on adding to it. Just keep silent. Then only you will realize Nibbana. Then the Buddha gave him these two verses, saying, do not speak harshly to anyone. Those who are thus spoken to will retort. Once you have spoken something harshly, definitely you will retort about it. And what happens? These malicious talk will often lead to trouble or dukkha. In some way or the other, it will cause trouble. And retribution will come to you. Suffering and whatever action you are doing, that consequences will come back to you. And if you can keep yourself calm and quiet like a broken gong, which is no longer reason, you are sure to realize Nibbana. There will be no harshness in you. These are the two verses that Lord Buddha has given to the Thera. And when this, when I was reading this verse, there is one instance where, which I could remember, which was told by Sister Kema. She said, anger or harsh speech. If somebody is speaking harsh speech to you, if you add upon them, it's like you have, if somebody has spoken to you, you have one. But if you reply to them in angry and harsh speech, then it becomes double. And when they say something else, it becomes 4 times coming back to you. So this keeps on multiplying. This argument has never ending, ends only in dukkha. And this harsh speech, this argument, which is not beneficial, will definitely have the consequences that we need to suffer. And if we are walking on the path, if we can keep ourselves calm and quiet without giving any reason and without creating any action further for the harsh speech, without adding upon it, then we are sure to realize Vipaka. Then there is no harshness. Somebody said something, we take it personally, we want to add upon to it, we want to prove ourselves right, then definitely we are going to cause ourselves more and more suffering. बस उपोसत्का ithinam vattu. Verse 135. As with a stick the cowherd drives his cattle to the pasture, so also aging and death drive the life of beings. The story of some ladies observing the moral precepts while residing at the Puparama monastery. Buddha uttered verse 135 of this book with reference to 500 ladies. Once, 500 ladies from Savatthi came to the Puparama monastery to keep the Upasuta Sila vows. The owner of the monastery, the well-renowned Visakha, asked different age groups of ladies why they had come to keep the sabha. She got different answers from different age groups, for they had come to the monastery for different reasons. The old ladies came to the monastery to keep the Sabbath because they hoped to gain the richness and glories of the Devas in their next existence. The middle-aged ladies had come to the monastery because they did not want to stay under the same roof with the mistress of their respective husbands. The young married ladies had come because they wanted their firstborn to be a son. And the young unmarried ladies had come because they wanted to get married to good husbands. Having had these answers, Visakha took all the ladies to the Buddha. When she told the Buddha about the various answers of the different age group of ladies, the Buddha said, Visakha, birth, aging, and death are always actively working in beings. Because one is born, one is subject to aging and decay, and finally to death. Yet they do not wish to strive for liberation from the ground of existence is samsara. They still wish to linger in samsara. Then the Buddha spoke in verse as follows. As with a stick, the cow herd drives his cattle to the pasture, so also aging and death drive the lives of the beings. So, this is the story of some ladies observing the moral precepts. While the Buddha was staying at the Pubbarama monastery, he uttered this verse with reference to 500 ladies. So once there were 500 ladies from Savatthi who came to the Pubbarama monastery to keep the Upasutta Silavos. Means they came to the monastery to keep the 8 precepts. The donor of the monastery was well known, Visakha, asked the different group of ladies about the reason for them to come to the monastery and keeping the precepts. And she got different answers from the different age group of people. So in the 500, there were some old ladies who came to the monastery to keep the precepts. When she asked what is the reason to come and keeping the precept, they answered to gain richness and to be the glorious Deva in the next existence. And the middle-aged ladies, when asked the same question, they said they came to the monastery because they did not want to be with their mistress of their respective husbands. And the young married ladies who has come to the monastery to keep the Pasutas, they wanted their firstborn to be a son. And the young unmarried ladies who have come there wanted to get married to good husbands. And hearing to all of these different answers from the different age groups, Visakha went to the Buddha and told whatever happened. And then Buddha said to the Visakha, birth, aging, and death are always actively working upon us, working upon beings. Once born, one is always subjected to aging and decay, and finally the death. Yet one is not striving, they do not strive for the liberation from the round of existence. They will still be in this samsara. They'll be born, they'll die. Then after talking to Visakha, Buddha gave this verse. As with a stick, the cowherd drives the cattle to the pasture, so also aging and death drive the lives of beings. As the cowherd moves the cattle to the pasture, graze the grass, so also our human being life or any being's life is being driven by the birth, aging, and death. Similarly, as the cowherd is driving the cattle by the stick. We think that, okay, we are living nice and calm and happily. But this process of aging day by day, decaying of the body, day by day, getting nearer to the death is happening. Nobody can stop it. And death will come, and one who realizes that you have to come out of this samsara and wish to strive yourself and liberate yourself from this existence, then only your path is being fruitful. Or else you will be born in the samsara, die, and then again reborn. You'll be in this circle of samsara. Nanda madam, can you read?
Dhammapada verse 136. Ajagarapitavatu. Verse 136. A fool while doing evil deeds does not know them as being evil, but that fool suffers for his evil deeds like one who is burnt by fire. The story of the boa constrictor Pitta. While reciting at the Jetavana monastery, the Buddha uttered verse 136 of this book with reference to a boa constrictor Pitta. Once as Theramaha Moggallana was coming down the Jigakutta hill with Thera Lakhana, he saw a boa constrictor Pitta and smiled, but he did not say anything. When they were back at the Jetavana monastery, Thera Mahamoggallana told Lakhana in the presence of the Buddha about the boa constrictor Pitta with its long body burning in flames. The Buddha also said he himself had also seen that very Pitta soon after he had ordained Buddha. Soon he had attained Buddhahood, but that he did not say anything about it because people might not believe him, and thus they would be doing a great wrong to the Buddha. So out of compassion for these beings, the Buddha had kept silent. Then he continued, now that I have a witness in Moggallana, I will tell you about this boa constrictor Pitta. This Pitta was a thief during the time of Kassapa Buddha. As a thief and a cruel-hearted man, he had set fire to the house of a rich man 7 times, and not satisfied with that, he also set fire to the perfumed hall donated by the same rich man to Kassapa Buddha, while Kassapa Buddha was out on an alms round. As a result of those evil deeds, he had suffered for a long time in Niraya. Now, while serving out his term of suffering as a Pitta, he is being burnt with sparks of flames going up and down the length of his body. Because fools, when doing evil deeds, do not know them as being evil, but they cannot escape the evil consequences. Then the Buddha spoke in verse as follows. Verse 136. A fool while doing evil deeds does not know them as being evil, but that fool suffers for his evil deeds like one who is burnt by fire. It says Pitta is an always hungry spirit or ghost.
Nanda madam, you can explain, madam.
So our Buddha is saying that when people do evil acts, they do not realize that they're doing evil acts. That person is a fool. So because of that, that fool suffers because of his own evil deeds. He's giving a simile like a one who is burning by fire. So this verse 136 is about a Pitta, boa constrictor Pitta. So Mahamoggallana, Venerable Mahamoggallana, has seen, he was climbing down from a hill with Thera Lakhana. He saw a boa constrictor Pitta and smiled to himself, but he did not say anything. When they were back at Jetavana Monastery, in the presence of Buddha, Mahamoggallana told Venerable Lakhana about the boa constrictor Pitta, that he saw this Pitta with a long body burning in flames. At that time, the Buddha himself said that he has seen the very Pitta soon after he attained a Buddhahood, but he did not say anything about it because he thought people may not believe him. If people did not believe what the Blessed One said, the people will be creating a lot of bad karma for themselves. So out of compassion for these beings, Buddha kept in silence. So he said that now he has a witness as Venerable Mahamoggallana telling the same a story, that he saw the same Pitta. So the Buddha was explaining that this Pitta was a thief during the time of Kassapa Buddha, and he was sadly a cruel-hearted man at that particular time. He set fire to a house of a rich person 7 times, and even not satisfied by doing that evil acts, he also set fire to the perfumed hall that was donated by this rich man to Kassapa Buddha while Kassapa Buddha was out in alms round. So as a result of these evil deeds, this person suffered a very, very long time in Niraya. Now, while serving out his term of suffering as a Pitta, he is being burnt with sparks of flames going up and down the length of his body. So a Buddha is saying it is only foolish people will do evil deeds, evil acts, because they really do not know that they're doing evil acts, but they really cannot escape the consequences of their evil deeds, whether they were aware that they were doing the evil deeds or not. So the Buddha spoke in verse with verse 136, emphasizing that fools, while doing evil deeds, do not know that they are doing evil deeds, but nevertheless they face the consequences of their evil deeds, like somebody burning by fire. And this Peter is a hungry spirit or a hungry ghost.
Madam. We'll see if we can continue, or maybe if the
We
story.
can have some discussion and we can end this session.
Okay.
Nanda madam, do you want to share something?
I remembered reading somewhere that when we ask from family, neighbors, and friends, why did somebody die? The main cause of it is illness and old age. But if you ask the Blessed One why people died, he would say people die because they were born, and then if they don't understand the principles of birth, death, and rebirth, if they are not meditating and understanding the main cause of suffering is attachment, tanha, craving, clinging, and try to renounce it, they will continue in the samsara. So these stories are really good for us to read and understand the importance of doing good merits, and also importance of detaching, mental detachment for attachment, desire, hatred, and delusion, to end the continuous birth and death cycle, and help us to come out of samsara. They're really good stories. Thank you, Sindhu.
Thank you.
Yes, Gopinath sir, how are you? Can you share something? Paul sir, how are you?
I'm good,
Hello?
thank you.
Yes.
Hello, you can hear me?
Yes, yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, it's okay. All going fine. No problem.
Good, good, sir.
Meditation is going on daily. I didn't miss any day.
Great.
And that normal improvements just to come are coming.
Mhm.
Stillness of the mind, everything is coming.
Sir. Good, sir. Continue to do so.
Okay.
Wonderful, sir. Actually, it's great that in our daily life, having our mind inclined for the whole day and being able to practice that same calm and equanimity throughout the day is really be a blessing, and our dedication towards practice is also needed. We'll share some merits.
Yes.
May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear stuck fearless be. May the craving shed
Shed
all grief, and may
May
all
all
be
beings find relief.
May all
May
be
all share
share
this
this
spirit
spirit
that we have thus acquired
for
for
the
the
act
acquisition of
of
all
all
kinds
kinds
of happiness.
happiness. May
With
be
beings inhabiting space and earth,
Devas,
Devas and
Nagas,
Nagas,
mighty power,
mighty power,
shield
shield this merit of ours.
May
May
they
the
long
long protect
the
Buddha's
Buddha's
dispensation.
Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thanking you all, wishing all happiness.
May you all be well and happy. Thank you everyone for joining.
Nanda madam, I have shared Uposatha Day calendar in WhatsApp.
Oh, thank you very much indeed. Appreciate it.
Yes.
It's at